Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch.
Traitors. Hey, y'all. Hey, welcome to Sisters Who Watch.
Hello, I'm Shelby.
And I'm Laura, and we're sisters who watch everything TV, movies, sports, concerts, and even D-list celebrities murdering each other for money. We love to watch, and we love talking about it even more. Today we're watching The Traitors
US, Season 3 of Peacock's hit reality show.
The Traitors. And before we get into it, please give us 5 stars. Sisters Who Watch 5 stars, please, wherever you listen. Rate, download, subscribe. Follow us at Sisters Who Watch on all social media platforms. Buy our merch on our website. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I am going to unhood.
Yeah, if you're watching us on YouTube, Shelby and I are wearing hoods to give Traitor core, you know, our very best Danielle Reyes.
Good thing I don't have the hat.
No. If only I had the Danielle Reyes hat.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Called.
I know we have so much to talk about. Okay, Shelby, give us the background of the Traitors.
Here is the logline, people, as always. Contestants in the game move into a majestic castle and work as a team to complete a series of dramatic and challenging missions to earn money for the prize pot. Some contestants are loyal, some are traitors. Traitors. Our Scottish accent.
Yeah, Shelby's Alan Cumming. Needs a little work.
It's hosted by the one and only, our Scottish prince, Alan Cumming.
Our Scottish icon, Alan Cumming.
Of course, set in the Scottish Highlands. And this is its 3rd season. The first and second seasons aired on Peacock in 2023 and 2024. And we were thrilled to have the show return. We actually recorded an episode on the 2nd season last year with DocuSweeties. Loved recording with them, so make sure to check that out. And, you know, this season we couldn't wait. It was one of our, I would say highly anticipated returns. The 2nd season and the 1st season were just big favorites for us.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like season 1, I love season 1. I feel like that's kind of a hot take. Most people started watching with season 2 when they just committed to only celebrities. But I don't know. I didn't love how season 2 ended. There were some very iconic moments. I do too much because you two do little, you know? Oh, sweet baby Jesus, not Ekin Sue. Yeah, Phaedra was so good. So she was truly the breakout star, right? She got on Dancing with the Stars. She's back on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Like, Phaedra just, her star just skyrocketed after that season. But I think the ending was a bit, right? Trishelle, oh, that was such a bad ending. That was such a bad, I know. Rest in peace, MJ. Justice for MJ. So I feel like season 2 was a bit disappointing for me. I really didn't like how it ended. But expectations for season 3 were high. I think the cast was so good. There were such favorites, right? With Dorinda and Chanel Ayan and Gabby Wendy. There were just a lot of people, right? Chriselle. There were a lot of people I was really, Bob the drag queen. If you know me, I love RuPaul's Drag Race. And Bob the drag queen is one of my favorite queens from the franchise. So I was so excited to see Bob the drag queen. So there were some people who I was so excited to see. Mm-hmm. How about you? What were your expectations?
They were high. Like you said, season 2 ended not as great as season 1, but it still was very entertaining, mostly because of Phaedra versus Dan versus Parvati. Like, iconic.
Like,
cinema. And, of course, season 2 went on to win 2 Emmys. Alan Cumming dethroned RuPaul as best host.
I know.
So, yeah, like you, I was very excited. I was really excited for Dorinda, one of my favorite housewives ever.
Iconic.
And, I mean, there were also some weird people in the cast, like Sandoval. I think a lot of us felt like post-Scandoval, we were done with
We're sick. We don't need more Tom Sandoval content. No.
We've said many times they should have cast Katie Mahoney instead if they wanted some Vanderpump fame. They also casted like Sierra Miller from Summer House and then the random British Royal. Like there were just some random people that I don't know they needed on the cast. Like I think they needed a bit more heavy hitters.
Sam Asghari, Britney Spears' ex-husband. So bizarre.
So bizarre.
So bizarre.
Efron, who ended up becoming a star, but when we saw him, it was like, wait, why is he here? You know, it was a little
Right.
surprising.
Okay, so getting into the highlights, what did you think of the traitors that Alan picked at first? It was Carolyn, Danielle Reyes, and Bob the drag queen. What did you think of the traitors he picked?
Well, right away, I was like, oh, this is way more diverse.
Yes.
And I heard other people say very queer. I was like, oh, yeah, maybe they're
Yes.
making a concerted effort, given last season everyone was up in arms that Peppermint got out first.
I know. Yeah.
I, to be honest, was like, I don't know any of these people. Like, I've heard of Bob the drag queen, but I didn't know who Danielle was because I don't watch Big Brother. I used to
No.
watch Survivor back in the day, so only knew of like Jeremy, Tony, and Boston Rob. I had no idea who Carolyn was. So I was just curious. I was like, don't know who these people are. How are they going to be as traitors? Like, I genuinely had no idea what to expect.
Yeah, that's a good point. Similar to Shelby, I've never seen Big Brother. People have recommended it to me for years, so I didn't know who Danielle was. I've heard of Carolyn. Right, she was on Survivor a few years ago. I stopped watching after like the All Winners. It was a season right after All Winner season where all the black people turned on each other. I was like, I can't watch Survivor anymore. I officially retired from Survivor. That season made me so mad. Season 51, where all the black people turned on each other. Anyways,
Brutal.
so I think she was on the season maybe right after that. And I'd heard of her because she was really buzzy, right? She's very kooky, so she was kind of a meme. So I'd seen Carolyn before, but I didn't know anything about her. Yeah, and then of course Bob the drag queen. I'm a fan. Have followed them on Instagram for a while. So so excited. I was shocked that they chose Bob the drag queen, right? Because I think they're trying to redeem Peppermint. I don't know how successful that was. I don't know. I don't think Peppermint got redemption from Bob being a traitor, but we'll get into that. So I was surprised by the traitor choices. I think they tried not to go so obvious. And pick someone like Jeremy or Tony.
Yeah.
But I think they could have done a better job picking traitors. Who should they have picked?
I think, of course, right, we've seen the whole show, but I think they should have picked some non-gamers. The fact that I guess Bob the drag queen wasn't a gamer, but why not Wells or Gabby from Bachelor Nation? Like, I think they could have picked someone from the Bachelor world. I think they could have picked a wild card like Bob Harper from Biggest Loser. Definitely not Chriselle. Like, as much as I like certain people, like Chriselle wouldn't have been a good traitor. Dorinda wouldn't have been a good traitor. Like, there's some people I don't think would have been good. But I think they could have tried to pick someone surprising or pick a gamer like Jeremy who's like nice. They can kind of be like a Suri or, you know, how Phaedra was last year. Like a gamer that's really good at the social game, you know?
Yes. I was thinking the same thing. I would have loved to see Jeremy as a traitor, right? He's fun, he's nice, but he's also really smart. Jeremy's one of my favorite Survivor contestants. I love him. So I would have really liked to see him. I'm glad they didn't pick Tony. I would not have liked Tony. It's like how they picked Rob. Rob being a traitor was not fun. He was very annoying. So what did you think of Rob's introduction to the season? They voted not to let him come in, but then he came back as a traitor. What did you think of Rob?
It was an interesting twist, and I was like, there's no way they're gonna bring Rob all the way to Scotland and not have him do anything. So I was curious. I was like, okay, what's gonna happen? I did think it was smart. I wouldn't want Rob in the game. The contestants knew.
No.
Don't want Boston Rob in the game. He's too iconic, too menacing. Plus, you anger someone like by kicking them out. Because the rule was you can bring Boston Rob in, but it means you'd have to like kick someone off the cast. I guess you could have kicked off Ivor and nothing would have changed. But they didn't know that yet, right? They were just like showing up. So they weren't aware like who's who. So
yeah,
I can understand why they didn't. And then the fact they had the like 3 white kind of menacing gamers come at the same time and Rob, Wes, and Derek. I was like, y'all are crazy for that, having them in cages.
That was very funny.
And somehow, you know, Boston Rob lasted longer than I thought, but I thought he would be too obvious of a traitor. Like, wouldn't you just want him out right away because he's so good? Like, I was surprised that Alan eventually did make him a traitor.
I think making Boston Rob a traitor was smart, right? Because he's probably like the biggest name. He's the biggest Survivor player ever. Right? People who don't watch Survivor know who Boston Rob is. So I think it was smart to make him a traitor, right? Mm-hmm. They did choose one obvious person, but I just am not a Boston Rob fan. So I didn't like, he's just so aggressive, right? The way he came, right? We'll get into it, but I did not like how he came for Bob.
I
I know for both of us, Dylan Efron, what a surprise. I know that was a favorite moment for us, just Dylan the whole season.
Unreal. Dylan Efron being Pilot Pete 2.0 and somehow making it to the end. Crazy.
I cannot. How did Dylan make it to the
9
end?
lives.
The Traitors this season, just errors. Trail of
know.
errors. Who else was like a breakout star for you?
Gabby. So here's the
For
thing.
sure.
We watched, Bachelor Nation. So we knew of Gabby. And I remember I didn't watch her on Clayton's season, but I watched her and Rachel's Bachelorette season. And right away I was like, oh, Gabby's a star. Like,
Star.
I felt bad for Rachel because I knew I could sense it. Gabby has the one with more personality. Gabby's going to be the breakout. And she was. Like, to this day, everyone's more Team Gabby than Team Rachel.
I know. I feel so bad for Rachel. Where is Rachel? I don't even know her last name.
Rekia.
Rekia. Where is she?
R.I.P.
I know.
Worst
She just.
decision ever was making her a co-bachelorette.
I know. They should just make Gabby, because now like Gabby was on Dance with the Stars. I think she made it to the finale. Now she's on the Traitors and she won. Did you see she got married to her girlfriend? Yes.
Yes.
I know. Poor Rachel. Poor Rachel. Yeah, so I agree. Gabby is just so funny, right? From her season, she was so hilarious. So I was very excited for her casting, and she was a breakout star.
Crushed it. And I think she showed that she was even smarter, right? And funnier than people realized. And she was one of the better faithfuls. So someone else, I'm like, they should have killed a long time ago.
I don't know why they kept Gabby. Like, they killed Sandoval, they killed Sam. I'm like, why aren't we killing Gabby? Like, Gabby is smarter than half the men in the house. Literally. And if anything, they should have made Gabby a traitor. I think Gabby would have been a really good traitor. And she should have been killed.
Believe it.
Way sooner.
And she had a good social game and was able, because sadly of the stereotypes about women and the way she talks and the Bambis.
And she talks like this, and then talks like Jennifer Coolidge. Her voice is so funny.
They just don't think she's smart, and that's gonna bite them all in the butt, and it did.
Yeah. Yes, one of my favorite moments, even though I'm not a big Boston Rob fan, was when he convinced people to vote out Wes. I was like, there is no way. And then Derek was like, Dylan, if I'm dead tomorrow, you know what Rob's going to do. Rob's going to say that, oh, they're framing him. And the exact thing happened. Same thing happened. And I was like, how did Rob do that? I genuinely was like, how? And then Wes was like, if you vote me out, I'm coming for you. I'm like, Wes, y'all, I watch House of Villains. I'm a House of Villains fan. And I'd never heard of Wes. And now he's on every single TV show this year.
He's on Worst Cooks in America, too. It's like hardest working man in reality TV.
I know. He's working hard. I'm like, who's his agent? So seeing Wes was so annoying on House of Villains. And he's just as annoying on The Traitors. I'm like, he dug his own grave. Why were you being so aggressive? If you're a faithful, why are you threatening people?
It's just his personality. And I think some of the gamers don't know how to adapt their personality for something like The Traitors.
No.
Like, not everyone here is a gamer. There are people like Rochelle who sell real estate and dress like Fashion Nova models for a living. Like, she is not trying to have a patronizing white man, like, tell her that he's coming for her.
No. Absolutely
Same with,
not.
like, the Sierra from... Like, all of the women were like, ugh! And they voted for him just because they didn't like him. Like, you have to be likable. I don't think you have to be likable in the challenge. I've never seen it, but some of these shows...
It's all about if people trust you and if people like you. Exactly.
And I think because Boston Rob has this, like, allure about him, right? Because he's so iconic and you have people who've been watching him on TV, like...
For, like, 15 years,
fans.
yeah.
Like, it was hard for people to not be, like, silly putty in his hands. They were all just like, whatever you want to do, Rob. Like, they were in awe of him. So I think anything he said, they believed it.
I know.
Crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah, so that was iconic on Boston Rob. I'm like, how did he survive that?
Unreal.
And one of my favorite roundtables. We have talked about this. I think the season started off kind of bad. It kind of peaked. It like started off bad. It got good towards the end, and then it got bad again. So when it was Danielle versus Carolyn at the roundtable. How did Danielle convince everyone Carolyn was the traitor? I could not believe it. I was like, okay, Danielle is way better and way smarter than all of us think. And that's when everyone was hating on Danielle, and I was too. And then that's when I turned into being a Danielle stan, being like, wow, I'm rooting for her and I hope she wins.
She finally got her moment to show people that she is a strategist. She is a good player.
Yes.
Because we'll get to this. She had a lot of suspect decisions
Oh my gosh.
and questionable acting choices.
Right.
And as a viewer, you really see it like, oh my gosh, she's not great. But framing Carolyn the way she did, iconic. And Carolyn had one bad day, one bad game, and Danielle pounced. She never stood a chance.
Right, they didn't choose the right traitors. I think traitors need to. Right, Carolyn said this all the time. She's like, I'm really emotional. And I think as a traitor, you cannot be emotional. And I think you can't be super aggressive. Rob and Bob, the drag queen, were very aggressive. They talked a lot. They were kind of all over the place. Like, you cannot do that. You have to kind of lay low. And I think Danielle was a good traitor because, right, she didn't stir the pot too much. She was very sad and like emotional, you know, when people got sent home. So people believe she was faithful. But Carolyn, she just like, when Danielle came for her at the round table, she just spiraled. And everyone was like, oh. So I don't think Carolyn was a good traitor. A lot of people didn't think she was one. But I think when there was actual tension, she kind of crumbled. So, yeah.
Not good for Carolyn. And I was trying to root for her, you know? Like,
yeah, same.
And I liked Carolyn overall. Like, out of all the cast members that I didn't know, I was like, oh, I actually I'm liking Carolyn. She's quirky. She's truly wearing her heart on her sleeve, which I respect. But she got too emotional.
I know. Sad.
Get her in.
All right. What other favorite moments did you have?
Alan's outfits. And every time at breakfast, he show up in a new outfit, pick up a picture frame, and throw it on the floor.
Oh, Bob Hoppa. Oh, he's the biggest loser this morning. Throws his thing on the ground.
Every line, I'm like, is Alan writing these? Or who are the writers who's doing this?
I know, the Traitors writers are fantastic. He would be like, my murderous bunch. Like in the whip. The things he said was insane. And a reunion moment that I did really love, when Bob the drag queen was fighting with Ayan and Dorinda. Like, Dorinda is so wild. She was like, the way you said that. And you could tell Bob just doesn't take Dorinda seriously.
No. I mean...
oh my gosh.
Probably shouldn't, because classic... And we know Dorinda, because we've watched, right, Housewives. She's very sensitive when people come for, like, her background or clout, or that she's not good enough. So him being like, oh, I don't know her. She took such offense. Oh my gosh. And Bob was like, I don't know anyone. It's like Dorinda being told, like someone saying she was put on pause. And she's like, no, I wasn't. Like little things like that, insinuating anything about her. She goes off. I know, Dorinda. Dorinda is wild. Gone too soon. Dorinda and Ayan are two of my favorite housewives. And the fact that they were voted off so early, so devastating. Justice for the housewives. And that's a good segue into least favorite moments. Like, why all the housewives going so soon? How is Robin and Dolores our longest surviving housewives? How are Sierra and Tom Sandoval our longest surviving Bravo celebrities? No, thank you. I feel like Sierra and Tom are the least interesting Bravo celebrities on the season. Ayan, I am obsessed with Chanel Ayan. Justice for Real Houses of Dubai. It got canceled. I'm very upset about that. And Dorinda is such an icon. She's so chaotic. And she was barely on the season, and she's still causing drama. Clearly, icon. The effects of Phaedra being so good last season, I think immediately there was a target on the Housewives. Yeah, that's fair. I don't know how production could impact this, but can you convince Traitors to not let go of certain people? Like, I know that's probably not how you produce this show, but like, all of our favorites people and some of the more entertaining contestants went out early. Dorinda, Ayan, Wells, Jeremy, Tony. Like, you had a lot of people with personality be sent home, and then you were left with some duds. And it made the season not as enjoyable. So I was like kind of hate watching in the beginning. Same. And turned up. Because the people I knew and the people that actually were entertaining weren't here anymore. I know. Yeah, I feel like all the filler queens, as they say on Drag Race, I feel like all the filler people who were cast, you know, just to kind of be there, they ended up
making it all the way, right? They didn't think Ivor or Sam Asghari, they didn't think they were gonna, or Sierra were gonna make it so far.
Like,
yes.
Dolores isn't as popular or known as Dorinda.
No.
She doesn't have as much she doesn't have as much personality as Ayan.
No.
Like, Robin made it longer than them, which is hilarious. Like, we like Robin, but Robin, again,
doesn't pop as much.
Yes. Brittany from Big Brother, like,
give us nothing, Brittany. give us nothing, Brittany. Brittany had no personality. She was not fun to watch.
She had to, like, defend herself.
I know.
I was like, where'd this come from?
She was giving Trishelle. Brittany was the Trishelle of the season.
Literally, I was like, you are going in, and you've been so quiet all season. All of a sudden, now you have personality. Ooh.
I know. I feel like Dorinda Wells, Ayan, Jeremy, Tony, they were some of the biggest stars from the season, and they didn't make it very far. Yeah, so very sad. Very sad.
Right, Bob the drag queen and Boston Rob being the traitors that went out first, not good either, because those are big personalities.
Yeah, I agree. And I also feel like, big least favorite moment, I feel like the traitors this year were so bad.
Awful.
Like, we've talked about this, they killed the wrong people. Why get rid of the Housewives? No one's gonna think the Housewives are traitors. Who's gonna think Dorinda or Ayan are traitors? It makes no sense. And why didn't they get rid of Dylan, the people who were actual threats? Dylan, Gabby, Wes, all these people. Like, they should have gotten rid of the game. Yes,
Ivor. Get rid of the people that are, like, really faithfuls.
Yes.
And are, like, trying to bring you down and are smart.
Yes.
Keep the clueless people.
Yes.
You should have kept Robin. Such clowns, like, murdering Robin. I'm like, no, you saw Dolo. Dolores voted wrong 8 out of 10 times at the round table, as Andy said. That's why you bring Dolores to the end. She did not know what she was doing.
Exactly. Like, when they killed Tom Sandoval, I was like, what are you doing? He thinks Dolores is a traitor. Like, you keep someone like Tom Sandoval.
And Dolores thinks he's a traitor. So if anything, you keep him as, like, a potential banishment target.
I know. I'm like, why? Like, why are you getting? It didn't make any sense. They should have sent home Gabby. They should have sent home Ivor. They should have sent home Dylan. Yes, Dylan was loyal to you, but he's really smart. He's the Pilot Pete. He's the faithful of the faithfuls. Like, everyone trusts him. I just think the traitors this season were really bad. They were coming for each other. Bob versus Rob. Carolyn versus Danielle. This is the worst batch of traitors we've ever seen.
So bad. And people like to say Danielle was the worst. And it's like, Danielle somehow made it really far. So clearly she wasn't as bad as the others. I just think she wasn't as likable. And sometimes with reality TV, if you're not liked, people will come for you. It doesn't matter, even if you're maybe one of the better game players.
I know. Unfortunately, Danielle Reyes is a Black woman, so she's just not going to be as well liked.
Yeah, it is what it is. I don't know if you saw this, but, like, apparently Bob the drag queen was defending her and coming for Carolyn, because Carolyn has become, like, a star of the show.
Yes.
People have been Team Carolyn, not Team Danielle. And
classic.
Carolyn was kind of, like, egging it on by, like, posting a clip about a letter, a journal entry letter she'd written about Danielle and how upset she was. And it's like, Carolyn, that happened months ago. Everyone's on your side. Let it go.
I know. I'm like, the internet hates Danielle. We don't need your white woman tears fueling the fire of everyone hating on this Black woman. Neither of you won. Like, who cares? You're winning. They said she's, like, number 7 on Cameo. Like, who cares? You're clearly the more popular one.
Doing just fine.
I know.
Get over it.
Ugh, that's annoying. That makes me not like her. I mean, I wasn't a Carolyn fan, but that makes me dislike her. It's like, why are you trying to make things worse for Danielle when everyone already hates her online?
The fact that apparently she sympathizes with Tom Sandoval and finds him attractive. Another red flag, Carolyn.
What?
You haven't heard that?
No.
Yikes. Yeah, apparently Carolyn, likes Sandoval. She's like, I don't know why so many people don't like him. His music's good. I want to go to one of his, like, group shows.
Oh my gosh. Good thing I didn't hear that.
Literally. Girl.
Yikes. That's weird. That's really weird. Okay. And I don't know. Carolyn just kind of... It seems like she just kind of has a victim mentality. Like, especially in the reunion, too. She was just like, oh, everyone just says this about me. Da-da-da. Like, I just didn't Danielle didn't respect me. All this. And it was just like, why are you... It's okay to be sensitive and feel your feelings, but I'm like, it felt like she was taking this really personally. I'm like, aren't you a gamer? Like, why are we... trying to make it seem like Danielle is the villain and she hates you. It just felt very weird how she was trying to get like more sympathy votes. Like what?
No, I agree with you. It was not needed.
Strange.
And again, I think some of these people, they're not as savvy with this stuff, or they don't handle it well. It's like, if you're on this show and you're apparently a gamer, you should be able to understand that someone might turn on you. That's just part of the game, right? Didn't you play Survivor?
Yeah. And she's like, I just wear my heart on my sleeve and I'm not gonna cry. And she's like crying over Danielle at the reunion. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, why are we demonizing this Black woman?
It's too much.
Justice for Danielle. This is a very hot take, but justice for Danielle. Justice for Danielle.
No, I actually agree. The more I watched the season and more I saw the discourse and the more I learned about them outside of it, like, Carolyn was almost playing like too emotional, and Danielle was clearly playing like, oh, I'm acting.
No emotions. Yeah.
No emotions. And the fact that people are mad at Danielle for that and not mad at Carolyn, it just doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, it's giving. Yeah, it's giving. We don't like Black women. You know, it's right. We've talked about this. It's hard to be a Black woman on any reality TV show, period. And right, like Boston Rob, I'm like, Boston Rob was doing all the same things. Literally. And everyone's obsessed with him. Everyone's like, oh, Boston Rob was so hot. Like, oh my God. Like all these like TikTok videos of him of when he was younger, like he's trending everywhere online. And like Boston Rob was just as like brutal, lying, doing all these things. But we hate Danielle because she's not white, I guess.
Literally.
It's just really sad to see all the hate she's getting, where it's like, everyone's doing the same things, but they're hating on her because, yeah, right? She's a Black woman.
Brutal.
Yeah. I know, Shelby, you don't like bugs. So I assume you didn't like the bug challenge where they were holding hands.
Way to come for me, Laura. Yes, I hate bugs. That challenge was awful. I honestly would have been like Chriselle. The second I felt a bug, done. I don't care about a shield that bad.
The way Chriselle was in there for 10 seconds.
I would have been the same thing.
That was so
Never
funny.
resonate with Chriselle so much in my life.
I know. Honestly, Chriselle came off well. Besides her voting out Nikki, that wasn't good.
Literally, Chriselle came off well. You know, she's part of the Bambis. I agree.
Yes.
Chriselle handled herself well, except for turning on Nikki. That was not a great moment. Only because she thought she saw Nikki's face react or something. Like, it wasn't even that good of a
Nikki was like, and Chriselle was like, Chriselle was like, just the look on her face. It just didn't sit right with me. I'm like, okay, girl. I understand when you're in the house, like, you know, nothing makes sense, but that was funny.
Literally.
Something else that just, it was very, I feel like this whole season, especially the Brittany and Danielle Reyes dynamic was very cinematic. And just to see Brittany being recruited by Danielle to be a traitor towards the end. And then she turned on Danielle again and voted her out when there was that stalemate. And I'm like, we all knew that Danielle was probably going to do that. But it just, I mean, she said it in her exit interview. She was like, oh, I should have just killed her. I shouldn't have recruited her. Da, da, da. Yeah, what did you think of the Brittany Danielle betrayal?
It's interesting because now as you reflect, like, they really hit those beats throughout the season. Like, right in the beginning, they were like, Danielle and Brittany were freaking out that they were both there because they had a fallout, I guess, at Big Brother reindeer games. Which is like, I guess their version of, like,
their Christmas special.
Yeah. Like, what was it? Bachelor Winter Games? Didn't they do that?
Yeah.
Their version. And we don't watch Big Brother, so we didn't really get it. But it seemed like Brittany did Danielle dirty. And for Danielle and Brittany to then rekindle throughout the show and get close again and rely on each other, and for Danielle to recruit Brittany to be a traitor and then Brittany turn on her, devastating. And in the reunion, she was like, yeah, I'll never trust you again. Like, no love lost. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, hold it against you, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna trust you in a game.
Yeah, but it's like, right, if we're playing together, you know, we can't be allies. And I thought that was fair because it's like, clearly, right, it's a game, but we can't work together anymore.
No.
And I respected that. Did you know Danielle's like 54?
Really?
Yes, because I
Danielle
looked her
looked
up
great.
and I was like,
She said she was a grandma, or that she swore on her grandkids.
oh
right?
yeah, she's one of her grandkids. No, Danielle is 53 or 54. I was shocked. She looks so good.
She looks amazing. Black
And if you
girl.
see like a younger picture of her, I was like, oh, she looks so beautiful. Like I just looked up Danielle Reyes, and yeah, she was just like so cute. I mean, I have a friend who also watches Traitors, who also was a Big Brother fan, and she's like, oh, Danielle's an icon. Danielle's an icon, like the greatest to do it who's never won. And I think someone else said that on the season, like, oh, Danielle Reyes, Danielle Reyes. So I'm glad that she came on. I mean, was it a redemption? Like, obviously she got really far, and I think people applaud her for that, but I hate to see that she's getting so much hate online. But she looks fantastic. She looks beautiful.
Except for her fashion. Bad acting and bad fashion. Like her
I know.
like trembles, her like shock.
And she was like, I knew it. I knew it.
I was like,
I told y'all.
this is what you do to not win an Oscar. Danielle, please.
When they showed her in the reunion of her like shaking.
That was insane. I was like, there's no way Danielle's not.
I was screaming when they replayed that back. I was like, Danielle was so wild for that.
Crazy.
Oh my gosh, Danielle is so iconic. Honestly, it turned around to not liking Danielle to being her biggest fan. Like,
Literally.
she was so funny. Oh my gosh, love her. I
So
will say,
good.
I feel like the ending felt a bit anticlimactic because,
for sure.
right, like Brittany being the last traitor standing, and then she gets voted out like immediately after. And then the final four being Ivor, Dolores, Brittany, and Dylan. It just felt like, I think Dylan and Gabby played a good game, but I feel like Ivor and Dolores, they felt like fillers who weren't supposed to make it that far. And it just felt like they didn't deserve to be there. It's also like, Ivor is a British royal. Why are we giving him money? I know that's not like the point, but it's like, that also just didn't sit well with me. I'm like, really? I don't know.
It's like in Survivor back in the day when somehow a person who kind of like skated around wins. You're like,
Yeah.
they didn't do anything. How are we giving them the money? Like that, I agree with you, and I really don't like. Like, I appreciate that they all wanted to like be faithful and like have everyone win, but Ivor and Dolores did not deserve it.
No.
Like, Dolores wasted so many of her votes, voting against Tom. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, Dolores. And at the end, when she voted for Brittany, she was like, I think I finally need to, like, vote what I know or vote smart. And I'm like, Dolores, you weren't
What
voting
have you been
smart
doing?
this whole time. Come on, girl. Pay attention. And even Andy was like, yeah, Dolores, I'm used to you being such a good judge of character. I'm like, surprised.
That was shady. Andy really came for her. Andy really came for her.
As he should, because she played such a bad game.
I know. She really did.
Such a bad game.
Yeah. And the ending was not. I was like, it was cute because I think last season I really didn't like the ending.
Oh my gosh, because they basically turned on MJ.
Yeah, for no reason. And I didn't like Trishelle at all. So I thought that ending was worse. But this ending, I was like, okay. Like, yay, faithfuls. Yeah. But the final group was just kind of random. So I didn't love weird. That. Yeah.
Ugh, I'm aligned.
Yeah. Are you ready for our game? Red flag, green flag, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm going to ask you a hot question. You got to give me your hot take.
I'm ready.
Okay, Shelby, is it a red flag to turn on your fellow traitors?
Yes, the way Bob did it and Danielle did it and Carolyn did it, but no in general, because remember last season, when Dan is such a bad traitor and a liability, you got to get him out. Like,
yes.
Even the first season, remember Christian, like, sometimes they're bad traitors and they're just jeopardizing your game. Like,
right.
You need to get them out. But I think Ross and Rob turned on Bob the drag queen too soon.
Way too soon.
And then it literally led to his own demise because people were like, oh, you went for him so hard. You must have, like, known. Because no one else had been talking about Bob. So it's different if people have started to talk about Dan or started to talk about Christian. And then you're like, oh, yeah, they need to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's red for this season. But in general, no. If someone is really ruining your game, they gotta go.
Rob did not play a good game. He turned on Bob the drag queen way too quick. I was very upset when Bob the drag queen got voted out. And Danielle putting out Carolyn's name so soon was horrible. That was when I was.
She could have done.
Oh my, yeah, that was her worst move.
Especially
I was
her
so
rationale, because she was like, "Yeah, because I don't trust Boston Rob, so I need to get Carolyn out so I can recruit someone to help me get up Boston Rob." I was like,
girl,
Danielle,
girl,
come on.
Yeah, that was a really bad move. And then Carolyn and Danielle coming for each other, and Gabby was like, "That just seemed like traitor on traitor." And it's like, yes, yes. Like if you
You're right.
come really hard at someone and they end up being a traitor, that looks bad on you.
Mhm.
So this, red flag this season, absolutely.
100%. Okay, Laura, question for you. Is it a green flag to not fight for a shield?
No, it's not. Because remember in one of the first challenges, you had to like get off the boat and not get a shield and to get more money. And if you do that, that painted a target on your back. They're like, oh, well, they hopped off, so they must be a traitor because they feel safe. And I just think on the traitors, it really is every man for themselves. And you have, like, if there's a shield, you have to go for it. Because if you're a traitor, it makes you look like a faithful. And if you're faithful, it guarantees that you stay. So I really think that, you got to fight for the shield. All right, on to our... Okay, sorry. Okay, Shelby, was the Traitor Season 3 a wait or a watch?
You know, I'm a little surprised at myself, because if you had asked me through episode like 4 or 5, I would have said wait. But by the end, I was like, I do think it's a watch. The start of the season was honestly kind of maddening. I remember telling people I was hate watching because the traitors were so bad and my favorite contestants were being banished or murdered. But it did pick up by the end. The episode when Boston Rob was finally voted out, and then it led to like Carolyn and Danielle fighting every time. I was like, oh.
Yeah, that was
like,
good.
This is getting better. Still not as good as season 1. I agree with you. Season 1 is my favorite. And I think even though season 2 didn't end as good as I liked, the lead up was better. Like, I think the Phaedra, Dan, Parvati, all that
so
stuff.
Good.
Ekin-Su, like it was such a good lead up to the end that I'll forgive the bad ending. Whereas this had bad lead up, turned up right in the middle, and then a so-so ending. And because of that, I'm like, but still a watch overall.
Yeah, I think if you're a fan of the Traitors, watch it. But I think it's probably my least favorite season out of all 3 of them.
I agree.
Because the Traitors were really bad. The drama was not good. There were 2 episodes that I enjoyed watching, right? The Carolyn versus Danielle episode. And when Rob finally got sent home. But all the other episodes, I actually was really upset watching it. I was like, this is not good. So I would say it's a wait for me. Yeah, go watch season 1 instead. Go watch season 1. I will still be watching every season because it's just entertaining, but this season was not my favorite.
Not at all.
On to our What to Watch segment. So Shelby, season 4 of The Traitors. Who do you want to be on the cast?
Ooh, can't wait for next season. I really would love some more people from the love shows. Lauren from Love is Blind. Anyone from Love Island USA, particularly PPG. I don't think Leah or Serena would be the best, but maybe Janae would be good. Like, I actually think Janae would be good.
Janae would be good.
Right?
She's so funny.
Joey Grazadeh, who's America's favorite man right now.
I would be shocked if they did not put him on this show.
Put him everywhere. He literally just keep him working, please.
No, he'll be the Peter Weber. He'll be the Dylan Efron. He'll be like the cute, faithful of the faithfuls. Absolutely put Joey Grazadeh on the season. He would be great. I agree. Janae Craig, I believe. Yes. Or I feel like Leah, people love Leah. I think if they pick someone, it'd probably be her because she's the most popular and she's just so delusional and just says the most out-of-pocket things. I think they'd probably choose her, but I would prefer to have Janae on my screen. Rachel Lindsay, oh my gosh, she would be a good traitor. She'd be like Phaedra. She'd be like the Cerie Phaedra. Put Rachel Lindsay on. She'd be great. She'd be a really good traitor. Lauren from Love is Blind. I think she's like smart. She's funny. Who else from Love is Blind universe would be good?
I know. I mean, if you want villains, like Shake is one of the most iconic villains and was on House of Villains. I feel like there hasn't been anyone that has transcended as much, huh? Like I'm thinking, like you kind of need them to
be a pop culture figure. Yeah. Maybe like Giannina.
I can't. Yeah, maybe her. Or like Alexa, who's with Brennan. Like I'm trying to think who's kind of transcended a bit.
Yeah.
They haven't had as many besides, of course, our icon Lauren.
No. I think maybe Lauren or Giannina could be good. I think they're kind of like I feel like Giannina has become a pop culture figure, right? She's having a baby with Blake Hortzman from The Bachelor universe.
Unreal.
So I think she could be good.
Mhm.
Yes. Some Survivor favorites, Shelby and I, we have been watching the show a long time. Michaela, do you remember the black woman with the braids?
No.
Do you remember her? She was so funny. She was on a couple seasons. Justice for her. I think she would be great on the season. And Natalie, out of Natalie and Nadia, who were on The Amazing Race,
Please.
who was robbed of the winners at War season. Natalie would be fantastic on the show. She's so funny. Love it.
Yes. We've already mentioned like Katie Mahoney from Vanderpump, but if you wanted to go like crazy, you could pick like Sheena or Lala. Like,
Lala. Lala would be good.
They would be hilarious, I think, on the show. Just
Lala would
so
fight
much.
somebody.
Yeah.
Yes.
They would bring like very intense energy. And we all know Sheena and Lala are always looking for screen time. So
yes,
I'm sure they would love to. And depending how chaotic the show could get, what about New York? Tiffany Pollard herself.
Oh my. I love Tiffany Pollard. She's actually one of the funniest people ever. Like, House of Villains, she's been on both seasons of House of Villains. She's so funny. I love her.
Imagine her in Scotland in that castle.
With the bugs.
Oh my gosh, she would do bad at every challenge.
She'd be like Kate. She'd be like Kate from Below Deck, throwing money away. Oh, and you know who else would be really good? She won the first season of House of Villains from Bad Girls Club. I don't get no sleep because of y'all. Y'all not gonna get no sleep because of me.
Tanisha?
Tamisha.
I can't. I know. I was like trying to remember.
Yes, Tamisha. She was I love her. And she'll fight. She'll yell at people, but she's also like smart and really good social play. She could be a good traitor. I'm trying to think of someone from Drag Race.
Simone.
Simone. I love Simone. Simone would be good.
Candy Muse. Bring Candy Muse.
Ding, 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 ding. Put Candy Muse on the traitor. That's it.
Gosh.
She'd be so funny. She would fight. I love Candy Muse. Candy Muse would be great.
And then, I like how they had Ekin-Su. Like, bring more people instead of, a royal from the UK.
I don't care.
Bring,
Curtis. How about Curtis? I think maybe Curtis, the ballroom dancer.
To avenge Ekin-Su.
Yeah. Maybe Curtis. I think Curtis would be good. Yeah, so we already have a fantastic cast. Come on now.
This is exciting.
I know. Giselle Bryant.
Oh. She'd do way better than Robin.
She'd be, I know.
Sorry,
Karen Huger once she gets out of prison.
Girl. Karen does not need to be in Scotland.
Erica Jane.
Yeah.
Erica Jane would be good.
Someone who's gonna.
Okay, well, we basically have an entire cast. Biggest producers. We've been saying this. What else is in our What to Watch segment, Shelby?
A lot of people say we should watch international versions of the Traitors, like the UK one. So if people want to, expand, there's a lot of other versions of the Traitors you can watch on Peacock. And of course, we mentioned this briefly, but our icon from season 2 of the Traitors, Phaedra, is returning to the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Icon.
Premieres March 9th. So
amazing.
For those of y'all who want more Phaedra in your lives, go watch the Real Housewives of Atlanta, which is coming back now.
That's it. Phaedra, the icon. Someone else. Paula Hollywood from the Great British Bake Off. But on the Traitors.
That would be good.
Right. You need someone random. A random British guy.
Instead of Sam Asghari, you need random people like that I think have more of a following or presence, but from like a property brother. What if you had, a property brother?
Property brother.
You might pull in people from HGTV,
That's good. I like the property brother. I'm maybe someone from Food Network. Yes. Bobby Flay.
Guy Fieri. Ina.
Ina Garten. Stop. Ina Garten would be so funny. I love that idea.
Ina on the Traitors with
That's good. That's really good.
Voice. She'd be like the mother.
Yeah, she'd be drinking wine. Make her a traitor. No one would ever think Ina Garten. Stop. That's so funny. I love that idea. Okay, y'all. We could talk about who should be a traitor for hours. But these are really good. Yes. Okay, well, if you enjoyed this episode of Sisters Watch, please give us 5 stars. 5 stars wherever you listen, please. Rate, download, subscribe, follow us on social media at Sisters Who Watch, and buy our merch on our website.
Yes, thank you so much. We appreciate y'all. We want to hear from you. So DM us, comment, like, all the things. Let us know what you think about our episodes. Thank you so much for tuning
Yes.
in.
Thank you. Stay watching.